Here's a story of how we ended up spending 2 nights in a misty, enchanted theme park in Vietnam. Of course, to get to Vietnam, we had to leave Cambodia. Cambodia was a ton of fun in terms of value for buck on the tours. It was arguably the best so far, much better than Thailand, I thought. Though I do not enjoy being hassled, and Cambodia, it happened pretty much constantly. A lot of the people city clearly just viewed us as walking wallets, which we are compared to locals, I guess, but it was just too obvious. If they tried a little less hard, I would probably fall for it. At least value for transport, accommodation, food was amazing. You just have to be careful about where you spend your money, though I guess that goes for most places. So it's perfect time to research basic phrases in Vietnamese and some activities we might get up to once we get there. This airport, Siem Reap Airport, might be the least busy airport I've ever been to. All it has are a few duty-free shops and a couple of restaurants and a souvenir shop. There's a lot of empty space here and a whole wing of gates blocked off. I hope more people visit Cambodia so that these open up, but I do enjoy the quiet atmosphere here compared to the Bangkok airport, which we had to end up in since there was no cheap direct flights from Cambodia into Vietnam, or at least Siem Reap to Da Nang in particular. I have to say, the Bangkok airport chicken rice was the worst chicken rice I've ever had. It was so dry, and it was such a disappointment. It was the last chicken rice of the trip after all. Not to mention, it was the most expensive chicken rice I ever had. Da Nang airport is really modern, it's very clean, and there's Korean plastered everywhere. The taxi drivers at the Grab point tried to charge nearly 50% more than Grab was on the app, so watch out for that when you come here yourself. They said my driver would charge more in total with the extra airport fees, but when I told them the app said no fees, they scoffed. And would you look at that, no airport fees with the driver. Da Nang is very bright, even at night. It's just bright. We managed to land us a really cheap, excellent room, and the transport getting around, just doing some sightseeing at nighttime, was even cheaper than Cambodia.
Oh yeah.
The night market we ended up was huge, but it was also next to the Dragon Bridge, a pretty famous landmark, and a lot of people were present in both spots. This place was hectic, not because there was a lot of people, but as soon as you walk through anywhere near food, you are hassled hard. About 3 people working for the food stall will come and try and sell you something. This is normal, apparently. Just say no and keep walking if you don't want to be bothered. They're not as bad as the taxi drivers at the airport. The food though, I've paid 10 times the price for much worse, and have paid more for bottles of water, so I'm not going to complain. Mind you, this is on the expensive side, given it is a tourist spot. Walking back to the hotel at the end of the night, we saw some truly shady bars. Few young girls sitting out the front with blacked out windows. I wonder what could possibly be happening in there. Last thing was, I was walking with one of my friends and they must have thought I had a girlfriend, so they didn't bother with me. Or I look poor. Or I look too poor. I don't care which one, I just happy they didn't try and mess on me. It's up there now. So far, first night, Vietnam is a hoot. Other than the aggressive sales tactics in touristy places, it's awesome. Our hotel was excellent for 3 stars. I didn't know before, but apparently where we stayed was known as Korean Alley, and that explains why there was a lot of shady looking bars at night. That's where all the Korean businessmen come to cheat on their wives. Give your balls a tug. I have to say, I quite enjoyed my Vietnamese mall experience. They don't hassle you, and it's clean, air conditioned, not very humid. Got to try out Jollibees for the first time. I didn't know why the Filipino kids in my class always spoke so highly of it. I didn't think it was that great. It was okay, but I should stop there before I alienate all of my one Filipino viewer. Then, just to kill time, we went to another mall, a Lotte, which is a Korean brand, duty-free mall. And it felt like going into an abandoned building. The building is absolutely massive, it's huge, but there's nothing in the first floor, there's no lights even. And just with how empty it is, I was pretty confused. So, after exploring this, I don't know, a dead mall, there was workers here, by the way. I don't know who they're serving. There's only us 3 here, and we saw 2 other people that weren't in uniform, so... On the other hand, we left for the Pink Cathedral instead afterwards. And as we drove, I watched a man stop a scooter at a red light, light up a ciggy, smoke it, throw it away before the light turned green. The efficiency is palpable. I'm assuming that's how Vietnam has become a manufacturing powerhouse. The Pink Cathedral was pretty neat. You're only allowed in during certain times, so we had to wait around a little bit. It was a nice building, it has quite a bit of story to it. Unfortunately, it started raining, so I looked for a shop to go into. And this coffee shop we accidentally wandered into was really atmospheric. There was a lot of people here dressed in traditional Vietnamese clothing and looked like they were having a photo shoot. The coffee was also good. We relaxed here for some time before we headed to Bana Hills. Before we went to Bana Hills, I wanted to find a 7-Eleven or something. However, there wasn't any, or at least not in Da Nang. There was tons of smaller family operated markets though. It was kind of disappointing to not see 7-Eleven. Then anyways, we were off to Bana Hills.
I think in YouTube.
The traffic here is pretty interesting. There's way more bikes than Thailand and Cambodia. The far right lanes are almost entirely reserved for motorcycles, and there is no pause to the traffic. Everyone just keeps moving, and either you move out of the way or someone else does. Honking is kind of used like flashing your lights in the West, but way more often. As you exit the city towards the outskirts, things slow down and quieten. You can see a lot of temples strewn about as you approach Bana Hills. The cable cars here have actually won a couple of world records for transporting the most amount of people per year and the length and etc. When we got there, we had to be taken to the hotel specific cable cars because the cable cars go to different spots. Like for one park, there's like 5 cable car services that service the hill. Because it was so cloudy, as we went up the cable cars, it felt like we were ascending into the clouds. It's kind of surreal seeing these massive structures in the middle of the bush on the side of a pretty steep mountain, and not just one set but several sets running parallel.
European cuisine, 10:30 to 3 o'clock in the Union.
Go that way. As we landed, we noted how cold it was. It was really like we were in the middle of the clouds, just this was built in the clouds. Most people who visit Bana Hills don't typically stay in the hotels, especially we noticed that it was mostly Vietnamese people staying here. But I thought it'd be really cool to be able to watch the sunrise and the sunset from this high up in the hills. And I also wanted an experience staying at a nice hotel, 2 nights out of a 5-week trip. I think I'm allowed to love myself that much, come on. The rooms were really clean and luxurious, especially for a place with bunker beds. And you can see how cloudy or foggy it is up here. Socks and my shoes are getting so wet. This isn't even lit. It was like this our entire stay. It was either raining or foggy or both.
Fish on lemongrass.
There was a complimentary buffet with our room, though one of us had to pay for an extra seat. It was great. There was a huge variety of food and plenty of Vietnamese cuisine, even Italian, just general foods and dessert as well. and I had a good shower and a sleep. Though unfortunately, I don't think we are watching any sunrises. We can't even see past our hands. At least there was breakfast buffet, but this weather was a very clear sign of weather that we were gonna have for the rest of the day. I gorged myself during breakfast. I mean, look, a full Western style cooked breakfast, and then half a banh mi and a pho. After breakfast, we wandered outside. We didn't really have a goal, I just wanted to see everything. But not being able to see more than a few meters in front of me, we somehow ended up at the Fantasy Park and also at the Wax Museum. Navigating around here when the major amounts of tourists hadn't shown up yet for the day, because this was still early in the morning before the cable cars were operating. It was a unique experience. I've been to Bana Hills once before, and I really enjoyed my time back then, but it was bright, shiny, and you could see everything. But being here the way it is right now, it was enchanting. Just look at how those cable cars going the other way sneak up on you. So of course, if you come to Bana Hills, you have to go to the Golden Bridge. Though, with not being able to see anything and very strong winds, it was certainly a interesting time on the bridge. It truly felt like giants were suspending us into the clouds. Though surprisingly, the gardens that were around the bridge was more interesting, in my opinion. It was very well maintained, and I'm sure it would have been quite the sight if we saw it in the sun, because it was still a great sight. And we somehow made our way to the wine cellar, which had some interesting history, and I kinda wanted to go in. But to go in, you had to buy an extra ticket, and it came with a drink of wine. I know I could have just not drunk it, but if I pay for something and I don't drink it, that just goes against everything I stand for. And since it was only 9 AM, and we're not a bunch of degenerates, we didn't go in. Maybe next time. Just watch how these statues just appear out of the fog. believe there's no way for you to actually go from this part of the park and walk back to the main part of the park. You have to take the gondolas. And the gondola on the way back was very sketchy. The wind had picked up and the fog had even thickened. But once we made our trip back to the main part of the park, we were headed off to the lunar castle. As you approach the lunar castle, you're greeted with these very intricate statues of Greek deities. And the castle itself is made of marble and very well decorated. I hope you're enjoying the sounds of the squeaky jandals. It's here. As you go deeper and deeper, it becomes more and more medieval themed. Stone walls, gargoyles, and knight statues. Though large sections of this seemed eerily empty. Then we were led to this steampunk area, where we saw a 5D movie. It was really cool, and quite a thrilling ride. Maybe it's because I haven't seen anything in 3D for like 15 years, but I found it to be quite an engaging experience that you should try if you're there yourself as well. After the show, we went onto a train. Couldn't figure out where it actually led. My map reading skills have betrayed me. But when you see a train, you may as well jump on. Also, by this point, people kept coming to ask me for help looking at... Also at this point, people kept coming to me for help on directions. I don't know if I just look Japanese, or maybe if I look like a Boy Scout, so they thought I could read a map better than them. I don't know. Anyway, we did a quick stop by at our room to break. Anyway, we did a quick stop by at our hotel room for a break and also to warm up. Then we went up to the spiritual area with a pagoda and a bunch of temples. This really made me feel like I was a Shinzon. Shinzon is someone who has essentially reached enlightenment in Korean folklore. Someone who goes above the clouds and joins or becomes one of the gods and lives above the clouds. I think the atmosphere here and just sort of the vibe was just so calm and serene. And it really, with the fog and everything, truly made me feel like I had come to somewhere where the gods look over people. Yes, I know it's a bloody theme park, but that was really cool. where do you go after you find somewhere for your spiritual enlightenment? Of course, to the beer plaza. To be honest, we needed somewhere to warm up. The tea place at the temple area was shut. This place was really cool. There was some tourist entertainment, by the looks of it, by people on working holidays. And the dark beer here was great. Not as bitter as usual dark beer is. Very smooth and with a pleasing pun. Very smooth and with a pleasing hint of coffee. As far as we could tell, there was also a drinking competition of some variety every 30 minutes or so. Anyway, afterwards we headed back to the hotel room again to warm up and maybe go for a swim in the swimming pool. Though at this point, I think I caught a cold from all the walking around I did in the clouds. So I took a nap and the ladies went for a swim / a gym workout. Always listen to your body. I guess that's what sunset looks like when it's this foggy. I think I'm getting sick. My mates went out to get dinner. Just not hungry. Kind of feel like shit. Head hurts a little. Feels weighty and heavy. I've been to Bana Hills before when it was sunny. It was honestly quite the sight. I have no regrets of coming here, even though it was foggy. I just kinda wish it wasn't for one day. Mind you, I was only here for 2 nights anyway. But it was a unique experience, kind of walking through all the streets and seeing how it's like, it's kind of like Hogwarts, you know? It was cool. It was a unique experience. I don't think a lot of other people can say they've been to here in this kind of weather. Maybe they can. Maybe it's common. So the morning after, I did enjoy my breakfast. There was lychee here, and given lychee is kinda expensive back in New Zealand, I had a full plate of them. And this day, I swear the clouds are getting thicker. As mystical and as cool as this place is, as mystical and cool as this place is, I would appreciate being able to see people who are literally about to walk into me. for some closing thoughts as we get checked out and leave. Did I think it was a good value for money? Absolutely.
Thank goodness this isn't like that.
The hotel was clean, food was great, and frankly, it was still half the price of a 4 or 5-star hotel in New Zealand. However, I had been here before on a sunny day, like I said, so I know what it can look like. I do think it was a cool mystical experience being in the clouds for 2 nights, but if you can organize it with the weather gods, and it's your first time, I would come here when it's sunny. I would also maybe consider staying a night or 2, as we did. When I did the day trip last time, we barely had time to see everything. In fact, I don't think we saw everything, because a lot of this stuff was new. There is tons of things to see and do. This time I felt more relaxed and I could take it all in. It's also cool to see there are new buildings and attractions that weren't here last time as well. Like a new temple and the whole brewery and the beer garden. This is new in the last 5 years. I would come back again, maybe with someone else. So yeah. Despite my cheapskate as usually, I'd say worth the money and the effort. But remember, you're gonna be paying about an extra million dong in transport here and the gondola on top of the hotel prices. Also, for whatever reason, the gondola down to Da Nang from the Golden Bridge was like twice the speed of the gondola we took up. It scared the hell out of me, I'm gonna be honest. Heights still freak me out. Anyway. Also, as we left, we saw a ton of people waiting in line. So, either come early or stay a night. Anyways, I really enjoyed my stay here. I thought I could show you something very unique and interesting. So I hope you enjoyed my story here, and take care.